Good morning. Tahmina Khan is here in TK Maths is Fun. In today's video, I will explain to you a concept of transformation, which is a part of the syllabus of O-level mathematics. Question I have picked up is from June 16, variant 2 to question 10. It's a very good question. It is covering a lot of concept in transformation. I'll just explain in a minute. Before we begin, you can see on the top my website address, tkmaths.com, and blog address, tkmathsisfun.blogspot.com. Do visit it. You will find it very useful. I'm offering online help tuition on particular questions, topics, and complete course also. So do visit it. You will find it useful. So let's begin with the question. So before starting, the CIE syllabus says that you need to understand reflection, rotation, translation, enlargement, their combination, how to describe transformation. And in this question, it is covering translation, reflection, enlargement, description, and matrix also. Okay, describe particular transformation into matrix form, not only description form. So that's why this is a very good question. And this video will get a little longer because of explaining of all these concepts as well, right? I don't want to break this video into two parts. So the whole question is around this diagram. You can see A, B, C, and D. So let's just start with question one by one. So first part of the question is saying the perimeter of a triangle A, now this is triangle A, is A plus root B. So you have to find out the value of A and root B. So this part is very simple. We will simply apply Pythagoras theorem, and we know if this side is 1 unit, this side is 2 unit, and this is my C. Like we write Pythagoras theorem as a square plus b square plus c square. Now please remember this AB has nothing to do with this AB, right? I'm just generalizing here Pythagoras theorem. So I'll find the perimeter in this form. So if I see this side is 1 unit, so here I will write 1 square. This side is 2 unit, so I will write 2 square and c square. So my C is root 5. So now if you talk about perimeter, it means add up all the sides, right? Perimeter is adding up all the sides. So it is 1 plus 2 is 3, and this is root 5. So now if you have to answer A and B, you can say your A is actually 3 and your B is 5. And again, do not mix it up with this ABC. This is, I'm generalizing the Pythagoras theorem. So let's see part B of the question. It is saying triangle A is mapped onto triangle B by the translation. So question is telling you it is translation. Write down the column vector that represents this translation. Now we know in transformation, when the transformation is on translation, the whole picture slides along the x-axis, left or right, and then y-axis, up and down. So if A is mapped onto B, it means it went all the way here and then up here. And whenever it is translating, it means each and every vertex of the diagram go through the same translation. So to figure out what is a column vector, you just need to pick up one corresponding point. For example, if I pick up this one, so this corresponds to this. So I will see how many unit it has gone towards left. Now this is 5 and this is 1. So it means 6 unit towards left. And then how many units up? 1, 2, 3. 3 units up. So I can say that it is -6 and 3. So column vector is writing it in this form. We always write x top, y bottom. And plus minus is simply telling you direction. Left is minus, right is plus, up is plus, down is minus. So this is how you will write the column vector of the translation T. Part C. Describe fully the single transformation that maps B onto C. Now B is here, C is here. If you see here, size is same. So what comes in your mind? That either it is reflection or it is rotation. So usually students get confused in these two things. Now there is one thing very important about it. So before explaining this question in one go, let me build a concept a bit so that you are able to handle other questions also, right? And then we will see B is mapped onto C. So either it is reflection or rotation. So let's see how do we differentiate. So I'm making up this picture here, and I'm giving name to each vertex. This is triangle A, B, and C, right? So I'm calling this point A prime, A, and A double prime. Now this one where, this one where you have 90 degree, it is C prime, this is C, this is C double prime. So this is how I have given name to each, right? Now, if you read the points A, B, C, it means you are reading it clockwise. Can you notice? A, B, C. If you read here, A, B, C, anti-clockwise. A, B, C, anti-clockwise. So now this is a very important hint to differentiate between reflection and rotation. In these two cases, the orientation is not preserved. Like if I'm reading ABC, because corresponding points you can't change, of course they will be same name. So I'm reading it clockwise and I'm reading it anti-clockwise. So A and B are reflection of each other. So when orientation is not preserved, it is opposite, then it means it is reflection. If I see B and C, the orientation is same. Both are anti-clockwise. It means it is, B is here, I'm sorry. B and C, so it is clockwise and this is anti-clockwise. So again, triangle BSC are reflection. I will explain you in a minute if it is reflection, then what you have to explain about it. Definitely you have to explain the line of reflection. Now let's see A and C. If you see A and C, it is same order, A, B, C, A, B, C, right? So corresponding points when you read, they both are read in the anti-clockwise direction. So I will say orientation is preserved and this is rotation. So this is one way to remember that you name the corresponding points and then see when you read, either it is in the same clockwise or anti-clockwise or it is opposite. So if it is opposite, it is reflection, remember. Okay, so coming back to the question, I have given name to the corresponding point because B is mapped onto C. So I'm calling it this point A, 90 degrees B, and longer side here, C. This is a hypotenuse, right? So my A prime is this is my B prime, this is C prime. Now if I read it, A, B, C, I will read it like this. If I read A, B, C, so you see orientation is not preserved. It is clockwise and it is anti-clockwise. So it is reflection. Question is saying describe fully. So first thing is that you are telling it is reflection. Second thing is that you have to tell reflection in what line. So the method to find out line of reflection is that you join any two corresponding points. So for example, I have joined this corresponding point. You can join C by C dash or you can join B by B dash, whatever, but just one point, okay? And then draw line bisector of it, okay? So once you draw line bisector of it, this line bisector is basically line of reflection. So it is your y is equals to x line. Is it all right? So this is how we find out line of reflection. And because it is on the graph paper and plotted very clearly, so we don't need to find out this line. It is straight away y equals to x. If line is slant, then we can pick up 2 points. And like we use the method in coordinate geometry to find the equation of the line, we can find that out. Right. Now part D, describe fully the single transformation that maps B onto D. Now B is mapped onto D. Now it is very obvious that size is increasing. So without any hesitation, we know it is enlargement. Now when you have to describe fully, you know what are the things you must mention? Scale factor, name it like enlargement, and point of or center of rotation. So these 2-3 things you must have to describe. Now let's have a little concept building here. Okay. I'm helping you to recall concepts also that you can solve other question as well. So about scale factor, when the scale factor is a proper fraction mean like 1/2 or maybe 2 over 3. It means numerator is smaller than denominator. So when scale factor is a proper fraction, the size decreases, because then each coordinate we multiply by the scale factor, right? I'm talking about with respect to origin in that case. Now, if it is otherwise, there is other way. We will solve that. I mean, see that also. And if the scale factor is improper fraction, the size increases. So if somebody say A is mapped onto B, I can see size is increasing. So I can say, oh, scale factor was improper fraction. But if somebody says B is mapped onto A, immediately I will understand that scale factor is a proper fraction. Okay. Second thing, how do you find out a scale factor? You know, if I say A is mapped onto B, it means B is my image and A is my original object. So pick up any two corresponding sides. For example, I pick up this side and this side. These are corresponding. So I will measure this length. So this I will write in the numerator, and corresponding side length in the denominator. So I'm repeating, image side length divided by object side length and corresponding sides, definitely. That gives you a scale factor. Now, second thing is the scale factor can be plus or minus. If a scale factor is positive, then image will be on the same side as the object from the center of enlargement. For example, this is my center of enlargement. If a scale factor is positive, then image has to be on this side. But if a scale factor is negative, then image will be on this side. So one side you have object, and on the other side of the center of enlargement you have image, and image will be inverted. Remember it. In case of negative scale factor, the image is on the other side and inverted. So you can note down these important points. Second thing is, if you are given the image and the object and it is said find out the center of enlargement. So the technique is you join corresponding points of all the vertices, right? Like I have joined this corresponding point with this straight line I have drawn, this one, this one. So join all the corresponding points, and where they meet, that is your center of enlargement. So this is one way to figure out center of enlargement if object and image is given to you. Now, very important thing, another, if in the transformation question is talking about enlargement with the scale factor -1 or 180-degree rotation, they are same thing, right? So, but you can see this object, when it is enlarged by scale factor -1, minus mean it will come on the other side of the center of enlargement. Size is same, but it is inverted. And if you see in 180-degree rotation also, you know, it is coming like this. Imagine. So your C prime will become C double dash, your B will come here, B double dash, and A will come here. Yes or no? And if you see here, ABC, ABC. So orientation is same. So it is what? Rotation. And at the same time, it is your enlargement with the scale factor -1. So they are same. Okay, so coming back to the question, we had to describe if B is mapped onto D. Now again, describe. So when you are describing, you have to tell number one thing, it is enlargement. Okay, fine. Then you have to find out the scale factor. I told you the technique. You pick up the side of the image. For example, it is 2 unit and corresponding side 1 unit. So scale factor is -2. Why minus? Because it is on the other side and inverted. Now why I'm saying other side? Number one thing, it is inverted picture. So that's why I know center of enlargement will be somewhere here. And I told you to find the center of enlargement, you join the corresponding points. So for example, this one I have joined. Let me join the other in front of you. So for example, this point corresponds to this point, right? And this point corresponds to this point. So they all are meeting at what point? -4, 2. So my center of enlargement is -4, 2. So when you're describing fully a single transformation, which is like the case of enlargement, make sure you do tell all these three things in the description. Your center of enlargement, your scale factor, and say that it is an enlargement, right? Now this is second last part of the question. Write down the matrix that represents the transformation which maps B onto A. Now you see it is going towards a smaller. First B came onto D, now B is going towards A. Now again it is inverted, we can see, right? So it means it will be negative scale factor. Second thing is, this is my object and this is my image. So to find out the scale factor, I will do image corresponding sides divided by object corresponding side. So it is 1 over 2 this side. This time, this is 1, this is 2. Otherwise, this is 2, this is 4. 2 over 4 is also half. So I can say that scale factor is minus half. Why did I say minus? Because it is very obvious that it is inverted. And if I join corresponding sides, I will get center of enlargement somewhere here. But question is saying find the matrix. Now you should remember matrix mean in this form 4 by 4, 2 by 2 matrix. The standardized matrix for or generalized matrix for enlargement is K0, 0K, and K is your scale factor. So in place of K, I will write minus half. So this is how I will write down the matrix that represents the transformation. I'm repeating, you need to remember that for enlargement, the matrix is K0, 0K. And then you must remember how to find a scale factor. It is image corresponding sides divided by object corresponding side, right? Okay. Now the last part of the question. It is talking about that name is given for different transformation. Transformation V, if I say, it means reflection in the line y equals to 0. Y equals to 0 means x-axis. If I say transformation W, it means rotation 90-degree clockwise about origin. And a single transformation X, if I say, it means it is equivalent to transformation V followed by W. It means first reflection will happen, then rotation will happen. Okay. So names are telling us what type of transformation will occur. Now the point is G comma H. And you have to tell it is mapped onto P under transformation X. So this point is going through two transformations, first reflection, then rotation, and then you have to tell what will be the coordinate after occurring these two transformations, which are called X. We will come to this point later, okay? So let's see part 1 first. Now, just before giving you the direct solution, you must remember whenever you are reflecting in the x-axis, right? For example, I have taken this question, this diagram. So this point, if you reflect in the x-axis, the x coordinate remains same, but the y coordinates change. For example, it is 1, 1. This is 1 minus 1. So that's why GH will become G minus H. Okay. So this is one way to doing it directly. But if I want to use matrix to solve it, now see here. It is very difficult to remember all the matrices for rotation and reflection, because in reflection, you see reflection in the x-axis, reflection in the y-axis, reflection in the y equals to x, y equals to minus x. So you can't remember all this. Similarly, there are for rotation 90-degree clockwise, 90-degree anti-clockwise, 180-degree. So how do you figure it out? Let's see the technique. Very simple technique. Otherwise, learning is next to impossible. Okay, which one will have minus, which one will have plus. Okay. So now this is our standard point. A is 1, 0. B is 0, 1, right? And these point, if I write in the matrix form, A is 1, 0 and B is 0, 1. Now these points will help you to fill up these matrices. Now see how. If I say reflection in the x-axis, then this is my x-axis. This point will remain same. It will not be reflected because it is on the x-axis. It is called invariant line. So I will write 1, 0, point A. Point B, when I will reflect in the x-axis, will come here, right? So if it is 1 unit here, in the reflection it will be -1 here. So my point will be 0, -1. Now same thing I'm reflecting in the y-axis. A is here, it will come here, right? Because this is my y-axis, I'm reflecting in it. So it will be, you always write point A first and then point B, okay? So you will write -1, 0, because this point will come here, and this will remain here only, because you are reflecting in the y-axis and it is on the y-axis. So you write 0, 1. Now when you will reflect in the line y equals to x, okay? Now this is line y equals to x. So this point will go here and this point will come here. So when point A will come here, it will become 0, 1. And point B will come here, it will become 1, 0. Now, for example, if you are doing y equals to -x, so this time your line will be from here, right? Sorry, just trying to fix it. So in the reflection of y is equals to -x, point A will come here. So it will be 0, -1. And this point B will come here. It will be -1, 0. So this is how you figure out the matrix, because you need to multiply it by the point. You know what is my point here? GH. If I write it in the column vector form, I will write it like this, right? This is the column vector form of the point. So if I multiply this point by this, why? Because question is saying reflection in the line y equals to 0. So if I multiply this point by this matrix, I will know the points of the image. Now let's see for rotation also, same thing, okay? Because you need to know how to write these matrices, because you can't learn them by heart, all of them. You should know the way to figure it out. Okay, so 90-degree clockwise rotation, and it is about origin, remember, okay? So now this is the standard. 90-degree clockwise means this point will come here and this point will come here, because you see 90 degrees made here. So it will be 0, 1 and this will be 1, 0. If I say 90-degree anti-clockwise, A will go here and B will go here. So when A will come here, it will be 0, 1 and B comes here -1, 0. And remember, 90-degree clockwise is equals to 270-degree anti-clockwise. So that's why I did not write anything for 270, because you can use these matrix. Now 180-degree rotation. It means this point will come all the way here and this point will come all the way here. For 180-degree, it doesn't matter it is clockwise or anti-clockwise, it is same thing. So point A will come here, it is -1, 0. And B will come all the way here, it is 0, -1. So this is how you get a matrix. So now I will multiply this point by this first, because you know the point P is going through reflection first and then through rotation. And after that, whatever my answer will come, I will multiply it by this 90-degree clockwise. Okay. Sorry, 90-degree clockwise. A is 0, -1. This is -1. Sorry. Right. So let's do it on the next page. So my point GH will become GH in the column vector form, and I'm multiplying it by matrix of reflection in the x-axis. So I got these coordinates. I hope you remember multiplication. This by this. Okay. 1 G is a G plus 0 H is a 0. Then 0 into G plus -1 into H. Now after this, now I have to multiply this point by the rotation, 90-degree clockwise rotation. Okay. Again, I'm multiplying it by this. And remember, points which are in the column vector form always written after the matrix. Okay. So now after multiplication, I saw it is -H minus G column vector. And question was saying, write down the coordinates of P. So that's why I'm writing it in the coordinate form. This is column vector form. This is coordinate form. Last part, the question says, find out the single transformation for X. Whatever we have done here, we have done in 2 steps. So what is the single transformation which can describe it? Now, from part 1, we have seen that GH become minus H minus G. And here you should know that whenever you reflect in the line y equals to minus x, you know your point becomes minus. We have just seen here, if you remember. Sorry, here, right? Both become negative. So that's why we get clear hint here that the only transformation is reflection in y is equals to minus x. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video. I told you it will be a long video because it has many concepts to discuss. If you liked it and learned something from it, please press like and subscribe button and share it with your friends. Thank you very much. Take care. Allah Hafiz.